Hello! Here on the channel we take a look at everything to do with gaming, role-playing and tabletop wargames. Today we'll be looking at what I consider the most functional polyhedral dice on the market. Plain white and black. These are the kind of single colour dice that you commonly find in your local gaming store or on eBay or Amazon, usually for near to no cost at all. In this video we're going to take a look at the design and why I really like to use these on the tabletop. So let's go. Before we get to the dice, if there's any sets that you'd like me to review or take a look at, please leave those in the comments below and I'll be sure to try and get my hands on them. Right, into the review. First off, the size. These dice are standard size for polyhedral dice. Now, looking at the cut and the shape, as you can see, they're kind of the standard rounded edges. The rounded edges makes it quite easy to roll. Also gives it kind of a nice feel in the hand. Doesn't feel sharp. But as you can see, these are basically your standard budget first time playing dice. There's nothing in particular that makes them unique in the design point of view. They are rather ordinary dice that you will find in any shop. The plain white style really kind of reminds me of like a stormtrooper look. It's a really clean design and it's something that I actually quite appreciate. The primary reason I got these dice in the first place was because I was having trouble reading my old dice that I've been using for so many years. The text started to rub off. With these dice, as you can see, they're very clear to read. We've got pitch black text on a very white, clear white background. It's very easy to read and you can read it across the table. Say you're the dungeon master and you want to see what your players have rolled across the table, you can see these far easier than other dice on the market. Okay, quite important for dice, especially if they're not just going to be on show, is how they roll. So these dice I've had no problems with. They seem to roll quite fairly. There's a D20, D10, D12, D6, second D10, D4 and the D8. So I find these dice roll perfectly fine. They can, because of their size, they can sometimes be a little bit difficult to pick up if you've got large hands, but they're not awful. I've had worse. So in a dice tray like the one I've got here, where it's got a felt base, these roll perfectly well. That's a nat 20. If we were to take away the rolling tray and roll them on solid table, they can roll, but they go a lot further. You don't need to give it much strength at all when you throw these dice. You just have to basically drop them onto the desk and they'll roll for you. The only downsides to dice like this are sometimes the finish isn't perfect. So you can just about see at the number 8 there's a bit of overspill. And on the number 1 here, there's a bit of overspill on the ink again. So it's not 100% perfect, but it's not messy at all. It's very clear to read and it doesn't really impact how visible it is. When we have a look at the other dice, so in comparison, let's put them side by side. You have the D20 there, and then you have a D10 here. You can see the text is thinner on this. I can only assume that's to fit in the 2 digits, but it does add a bit of inconsistency in kind of design and font size or font shape. If that affects your OCD, that might be a problem, but if you were to look at the other D10, that appears to be the same as the D20. So this double digit D10 here is the only outlier in the pack. For you seasoned dice collectors out there, this may not be a set that you'll be interested in. However, for the active player at the tabletop, I would highly recommend a clear set of plain dice like this. With other more intricate dice sets, on numerous occasions I find myself checking over again or re-looking at what I've just rolled because I can't quite make out what the numbers show. With a clear set like this, you're keeping your head in the game and concentrating on the gameplay itself. So that's my look at the plain white dice. If you'd like to get yourself a set, I'll post a link in the description if I can find some. In my next video I'll be taking a look at a set of dice by Polyhedral, so if you'd like to watch that, please click the subscribe button and click the bell notification to get notified when that video goes live. As I said at the start of the video, don't forget to leave a comment with any sets of dice that you'd recommend I take a look at. That's all for this video. It's quite a simple set of dice, there's not much to talk about, so I look forward to our next video. See you then.